you to Dr. Vignesh for arriving tonight. Hi, Louise. I see you in the house. You can put your name in it, or I'll put it in soon. So the amazing thing is, firstly, India is like 3.5 hours ahead of us. So it might be 7:30 for us now, but it's actually 11 o'clock in the evening for Dr. Vignesh, and he has just come off teaching tonight a masterclass. So thank you for coming and doing this. I mean, like a little bit of a, like that's like a superstar. He's really a regular guest in my kitchen. Those of you that don't know him, the most amazing Ayurvedic doctor coming from like a 5-line generation of Ayurvedic doctors, has the most incredible Ayurvedic clinic in Kerala, India, which I've been honored to be able to go to twice, and I'm very excited to say I'm going in September again. We can get more details on that later. But tonight, because Dr. Vignesh has been on a couple of times and chatted about various things, the topic that has come up, and I love this because I'm really curious to hear how you tap into teaching people about tapping into your intuition. So for your healing powers. So thank you for being here, and welcome again.
Thank you, Elaine. So we can start.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, hi to Cape Town, a city I always miss. So coming to intuition. So Elaine asked, what would you like to talk about? So suddenly then the thought came, maybe we should talk about intuition, because that's one of the gifts that we all have. There are 3 words: misuse, abuse, and no use in Ayurveda. So right now it has been no use. I mean, because we have technology, everything is given guided. So our ability to connect with our innate intelligence is actually, I would say, it's going down because of the technology that we have. So if you look back, the ancient Polynesians, before we had GPS, before we had satellites, they were able to draw the map of the Pacific Ocean just by understanding the movement of the wind, the waves, understanding the clouds, all of that. And we have everybody, if we are alive, we all are intuitive. If somebody says he's intuitive and he's very gifted with his intuition, what that person is saying is, he learned to connect with himself, or he removed the resistance to trust himself. So if somebody says someone is not intuitive, it's not that they are not intuitive, they're just not, they're full with their other thoughts. So what's the difference between intuition and your monkey mind talking? It's very simple. We don't need to be a Harvard psychologist to understand that, or a meditation teacher. Intuition always whispers. Monkey mind always screams. So in order to listen to a whisper, we need to calm down. We need to get grounded, because the more louder, intuition will never scream. Intuition is one of the most subtlest sounds that we can hear. And whenever we listen to an intuition, we feel it in different parts of the body, whereas anxiety, it's more of a fear that is going to come. So when we talk about how do I know if this is a true guidance, or how do I know if this is my logical thinking that is anticipating something is going wrong? So to understand if it's my logic, we will come with our past experience. We will try to analyze it. But intuition will be coming out of nowhere. Nowhere in the sense, we will get a very faint, mild guidance. It could come as a way of, what do you say? It will be like a very subtle feeling, and at that time, we could be in a relaxed state. But when the monkey mind is telling us something, we could be in an agitated state. When we are in an agitated state, when our heart rate is very high, when we are quite anxious, at that time there is no space for intuition to come. Like one of the best analogies that we can give is, that Bose sound system, that it has something called as noise cancellation. So that gentleman, when he was trying to design a good earphones, headphones, he was trying to increase the volume, and he realized increasing the volume is not good for the ears. So instead of focusing on increasing the volume, what he did was he focused on canceling the outside noise. So when he canceled the outside noise, the clarity of that sound became just better. The same is with intuition. We don't have to focus on what is loud. It's a very subtle sound. But in order to listen to that subtle sound, it's a daily practice. It's a skill set that we all learn. It is not genetics. If somebody says it's genetics, maybe there is a possibility of genetics. Maybe there is a possibility of your past life. Maybe there is a possibility of the surroundings that you're living in. If you live in nature, your possibility of listening to your intuition is much higher than being in a very crowded place. But still, there are people, in spite of being in a crowded place, they are able to listen. But for a person who is willing to learn more about their intuition, silent, calm, grounding, a place where you are able to ground, and a place where you feel safe. These are some of the prerequisites that we understand. Now, sometimes, patients tell me, how did you understand that? Are you like a psychic? No, it's not. It has nothing to do with being a psychic. It's just, there is a feeling we all will get. Sometimes when you see one person, suddenly we get a feeling. Is that our judgment? Is that our prejudice? Or is that just a feeling? Again, judgment comes because of our past experience and our trauma and our pain, and we are just repeating that memory. But intuition has nothing to do with that. Intuition is something, you see someone, there is some message that we're getting. And that is a message. We all are connected, irrespective of where we are, what we are, whatever our past experiences. Maybe I have no idea about, let's say, somebody could be a great creative artist. Okay, if I have seen the same person as a look-alike person in the past, then I think, okay, is this the same person? That's my logic coming. But I have no idea a person like this could have this kind of a skill set. But still I feel, is that person a talented artist? Is that person something good at something or bad at something? Can I trust this person? Can I not trust this person? By looking into the eyes, I don't trust this person. By looking into the eyes, I feel trustworthy. But maybe that person could cheat later on. This feeling, getting to know our intuition also has a lot to do with our being aware of our breath. Because what happens when we become aware of our breath, we connect to the highest energy consciousness. And usually, the moment you become aware, you cannot breathe fast. Maybe when you do a pranayama technique or something, at that time it's possible. But in your daily life, awareness is best practiced in slowness. We cannot do it in a speed or fast movement. Yes, there are times when you race, you are being very alert. That's a different case. But when it comes to our breath, when we become super conscious about our breath, we naturally tend to slow down. And when we slow down, what happens is the clutter, the noise will also go out. So few practices that I did. When you get up in the morning, just after you get up, sit silently 20 minutes, just observe your breath, being a witness to your thoughts. It could be, did I finish my laundry? Did I do my to-do list? Did I have to do that? Did I have to reply to that email? So many things will come up in our mind. However, be a witness to this. Practice that art of being a witness. Because you don't have to reinvent your intuition. It's already there. We just need to remove that noise. Bring in that noise cancellation. When we bring in that noise cancellation, that intuition, how it will help you? It will help you in saying no to food that you don't need. It'll help you in understanding whom can I trust more. It'll help you to say yes or no to things that you've been waiting for. It'll help you to say, should I go for this trip or not? It'll give you little cues. And sometimes this is one technique that I do. If I don't know, if I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. In such a situation, I ask myself, to my own subconscious mind or intelligence or to my higher self, if you have a, like in India, we have this word called Ishta Devata. Ishta Devata means your favorite God or your personal God that you're more connected with. For me, there is a God, Hanuman. I am very much connected to the energies of this God. So I connect to this God and ask, guide me, what is the right thing I'm supposed to do? Is this the right thing for me or not? And also guide me so that I'm receptive to this, whatever is the right message. And whenever you ask this at your most relaxed state. Relaxed state means you are at the most calmest, grounded self. And you can keep your eyes open. You don't have to, you cannot force yourself to relax. That's one thing. Relax. The moment you put the word force or energy or forceness, it just defeats itself. And it comes with practice. It comes with slowing down. It comes with being aware of our breath. And it comes with also just letting go of the need to control things, the letting go of the need to know everything beforehand. And the idea is, in order to also be aware of the intuition, we should also learn to make peace with reality. Sometimes intuition can also be things that we don't like, we don't want. It could also be things that, is this the right thing that I want to pursue? Is this the right thing that is going to help me? So, for example, when people ask me, do I believe in astrology? I say yes and no. For example, if I have an idea, let's say I want to go somewhere, and if I deeply want to go, and sometimes, if I'm going to consult an astrologer, this is the right time to go for me. And if I'm convinced deep inside, no, I have to go, then if the astrologer says, no, you should not go, and I keep looking for an astrologer till I find the one who tells me you can go. So sometimes, if we want something badly, then our intuition will not work there. The idea is we have to also let go of that attachment. Please let me, this is the best thing, this is the right thing to do. The moment you get attached to the outcome, if it is not going to be this, I will not be able to make peace with it, then the intuition will not come because the noise will creep in. So every situation, one of the prerequisites of our ability to listening to our intuition is, whatever is the outcome, I am open to the reality. I am open to making peace with the reality. This is something we have to understand. Sometimes it would say something that you've been believing for a very long period, your intuition saying, no, this is not true, this is not true. I mean, if you ask so many people who were in toxic habits, toxic behaviors, so many people who used to smoke, after they quit smoking, they would say, I can't believe I smoked so long. So many people who are in toxic relationships, they would say, I can't believe, why didn't I get out of this relationship so early? So at that point of time, if you ask what made them stay there, there is a hope because they just couldn't make peace with that reality. If I come out of it, I will not be able to stand it. So in order to have our intuition to work, intuition to guide us in the right manner, we have to learn to let go that whatever is my question, I'm open to whatever is the answer. And the idea is, whatever is the answer, making a belief that this is where my life path should go. If this is the thing, maybe right now, this is not what my mind or ego or my cravings or what my sense organs is not comfortable with. Maybe this is not what comfortable, but in the long term, I know this is what is going to benefit. I mean, that mindset is a prerequisite for our ability to listen to that intuition. Now, when you do that, what happens when people approach you, when people talk to you, when people are coming close to you, you start sensing things in a different manner because you become very sensitive. For example, if you want to see somebody who is extremely gifted with listening, they say you should always talk to a blind person. They know the powers of what listening can do because their energy is not distracted with their eyes, because eyes take about 80% of our sensual energy that is going to our nervous system. The same way, if you want to see how a person can read lips, check with a person who cannot listen to it. They'll be able to read lips and understand what they're talking. So the point here is sometimes constraints help us to develop some other skill in our body. And that constraint has an important rule for that. So the idea is whatever is the outcome, whatever is the message that I'm getting, the moment we are control freaks, our ability to trust our intuition goes down. The moment we learn to surrender, that's when our powers for intuition will just get better and better. It's not that let me rephrase it again. If you're alive, if we are alive, we all are intuitive. If you're breathing, we all are intuitive. The question is, am I canceling that outside noise of my monkey mind and my dark side of the ego? That's where the whole thing is. Now here, like Eckhart Tolle, he has a statement, go through every experience as you chose it. And when you, that's a very powerful statement. And I think the word for happiness in Sanskrit is called as santosha. The word santosha literally means, it has two sounds, san and tosha. Tosha means acceptance, san means complete. So the moment I am accepting this moment without any resistance, that's what happiness is. The moment I resist it, moment I'm frustrated with it, moment I'm not able to accept it, that is when frustration keeps in, that is when things go out of control, that is when I need to control it. So in that state of santosha, in that state of complete acceptance, that's where the power of intuition is. Now, if you look at the word intelligence, it has the word int, like, intel, inside. They call it for some technology. So intelligence, intuition, internal, it has something from within, something that is just coming from within. That's what it actually means. Now, in Sanskrit, the word for welcome, like in German they say willkommen, the word for welcome in Sanskrit is swagatam. The word swagatam literally it has two sounds, swa and agatam. Swa means the purest self of mine. Agatam means let the purest self of me, or when I'm telling somebody swagatam, what I'm telling that person, let your purest self come here. You don't have to put on a mask. You don't have to be somebody else. You don't have to be something else. Be who you are, the way you're designed, and come as the way you are designed. And that is where the state of intuition is in all of us. Now, when we see some people, when we go to some places, when we sit in a car, there are many times before I start a trip, I get a hunch feeling. Sometimes it could be something nice, sometimes it need not be nice. And if it is happening for no reason, I know something is going to happen that need not be right. Maybe flight can get cancelled, or flight will get delayed, or I will get stuck in the traffic and the flight will not happen. I'm sure we all know it. Sometimes that will make us very energy sensitive. Suddenly when we are walking and the door closes, or suddenly you see the red light, oh my God, this can happen to people who are super energy sensitive. And on top of that, why is this message coming? Is something bad? Should I go ahead? So this energy sensitivity is good in many aspects. However, learning to trust what is the right places where we have to be sensitive and what is not, that's where the art of being present, that's where the art of being aware of our breath, That is where the noise cancellation techniques will help us. So for that, one thing is to keep a journal. Every time you feel something, start writing it down. And then see, it's not like I am making a gamble, I am making a prediction, and if this is getting right. Eliminate the need to be correct. It's just play it like a game, whether you win it or not. Every time you see something, just note down what is your first thought that is coming, what is your first feeling that is happening, and just keep observing. And usually what happens, there is a part of our body where we will feel more energy. Sometimes if things are not going to go well, I always get a feeling in my chest region. Sometimes when things are going to go well, I always get a feeling in my throat and shoulder region. Sometimes in my abdominal region. It's just a feeling that I learned to understand how it goes. Like, for example, I still remember I was about to take a flight back from Europe. And before I take a trip, I always just sit and make an intention, let this trip be a safe, beautiful trip. And I was just sitting and just connecting what it says. And suddenly I get some dark kind of an energy. And I couldn't figure out what it is. So I'm just being open about it. And then that was the flight just before the lockdown. And the moment I came to India, within 2 weeks, we had this COVID and then lockdown happened. And I still remember that was a very strong energy that I felt. But at that time, I was just figuring out, what does this mean? What is it going to happen? But that was just the last flight I took before the lockdown. And I was entering like a few days before the lockdown, and I could see what was going on. That always kept me alert. Something is going to happen, I have to be alert. Something is going to happen, I have to be alert. But what does this mean? By knowing this information, should I get anxious? Should I get worried? Should I get... But then if we get anxious and worried, then we miss the whole point. The idea is, now I got a message. And with this message, I will also be guided. What should I do? What action should I do? Now, having that trust is very important. And how do we develop that trust? That comes with constant reminders. That comes with constant ability to see that. Always look back. There were times when things were even worse and you have overcome that. Now, after COVID, I feel no matter what happens, you'll be able to overcome. Because that's the kind of things that you have to go through, especially when you run a retreat where people from abroad were coming and the international borders were closed. But then, and then you will become very sensitive to what, and suddenly after that incident to me, then I started seeing every time I make a trip, I keep checking, am I getting that same feeling? Am I getting the same feeling? That's again my monkey mind coming and disturbing me. So the moment you have to keep a fresh slate, what is it trying to tell me? Don't be obsessed what is coming. When it comes, you will get something strange, and that can be possible only when you are very, very conscious and alert. Now, few things, times when this intuition works the best. First few thoughts in the morning, when you're drowsy, when you're waking up from sleep, or when you are quite relaxed, when you're tired and your state of asleep and alert at the same time, or when you're listening to something that is very soothing music, and when you are spending time in nature, when you are in the mountain bodies, or when you're near the water bodies, or when you are very relaxed state. These are the times when our intuition is very powerful. It's not that it became powerful. These are the times when we are most receptive to our intuition. In a traffic, when we feel, my gut feeling is saying, it need not be gut feeling, it could be our anticipation that is coming here. Now, sometimes, when we read pulse, when I have to read pulse, one of my professors used to tell me, pulse reading is a calculated guess. You are getting into that person's energy field. You're checking that person's heart rate is one thing, pulse rate is one thing. You're checking into every part. Before a person dies, we always check the pulse I mean, if a person is dead or alive, one of the things that we check is the pulse rate. So you're actually tapping into that life energy of that person. And when you connect there, yes, you can use your logic, you can use your past experience. Where and all were a similar pulse did I get? When was the last time I got a similar pulse? If they did they have any kind of issue? And what did I learn from the others? What did I learn from my teachers? All this can be there, but always give space for your intuition. And that always is quite a kind of magic, because pulse is always a calculated guess, but at the same time, many times when you touch the pulse, if we become very intuitive. I know one of my teachers, whenever he touches the pulse, he could go to an extent like a past life. At the same time, I know people, when they touch the pulse, they could tell to what extent is the diagnosis that is not right or wrong. I mean, which even the modern medical investigation parameters could miss, and he was able to diagnose it. But if you ask, is this correct all the time? No. Many times it could be correct, many times it need not. But it all comes with your ability to deal with it. So if you are into making decisions, if you are into, let's say in business, you're looking for a good partnership, you're going to buy a new land, you're going to get a new client, or some patient is coming up to you. One of the techniques that I do is, before I do something, I sit, be quiet for half a minute to 1 minute, become aware of my breath. And I always say, I don't force myself, let this be the best thing that is going to happen. Always tell, guide me, what is the best way to take this forward. Whenever a patient approaches me, I always take a time and tell myself, guide me, how can I be a light to this patient to recover to the best health? What is it that can happen? So every time you make an intention from a very positive, grounded state, we will get that guidance. That's just the way intelligences work. I mean, if you read about Ralph Waldo Emerson's some of the statements, what he says, if at all you get depressed, just go and read how your body is functioning. You will realize you are in possession of one of the greatest miracles that has ever devised in the face of planet Earth. And that is what is inside our body. And this intuition is like a ethereal wisdom, energy, transform, or like what we call it, Akashic records. Just like the way Wi-Fi is working, this is the most powerful Wi-Fi router ever devised. And see, I'm sitting 8,000, 10,000 miles away, and you are listening to me from a screen. You're actually looking at a screen with grains, and my words are being transferred, and it is transmuted into different vibrations, and then again it is converted and coming. Same way, it's not just those 5 sense organs that we have. There is a lot more energy that we are receptive to. And that energy, it is something that we all can tap into and access. So first thing is, learn to believe that I am intuitive. Learn to believe that I am receptive to the right guidance. And learn to believe that my intelligence always gives me the right guidance. See, this is one statement which has struck me quite deeply. Every time you consciously relax, you are connecting to the intelligence and communicating to the intelligence, I feel safe with you. So every time we relax, we are communicating to the intelligence, I feel safe with you. And every time we get anxious, we are communicating to the intelligence, I don't trust you. So, okay, that what does that mean? So should I not worry about things? Should I not anticipate about things? Should I just be not doing anything? So there's a statement, life is about finding the balance between letting it happen and making it happen. How do we find that balance? That comes with our ability to see, where can I focus and where can I control? Our focusing on things that we can control and letting go of things we cannot control. I cannot change the weather, but I can be prepared with an umbrella. I can be prepared with a coat. I can be prepared with a jacket. But once we are prepared, it's always better. So that doesn't mean that we should not anticipate, we should not plan. We should not make a to-do list. I'm always connected. I go with the flow. No, we should sit and plan. We should make our to-do list. We should do everything in our capacity so that we feel safe. And only in that space of safety, we become more receptive to this intuition that is coming to us. Sometimes that intuition will come as a discomfort feeling. Sometimes it could come as words. If should I do this, take up this project? If my intuition says no, let me know what is the right answer. If it says yes, you'll get a good feeling. So sometimes we would have experienced this. In the beginning, things all go really well, and then suddenly it collapsed. Like, for example, some people talk about their relationship. In the beginning, it's the honeymoon stage. We fall in love with that person. And I don't know if this is the right thing later on. So how do we trust that? So the idea is learning to not get super excited. If things are going well, okay, like in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, if things go well, don't get so excited. And if things don't go well, don't get too sad. Just remember, this is a temporary thing. So when we get hyper excited, we tend to miss out on our ability to understand what is the right thing for us. Sometimes when a patient comes, my teacher always says, always listen to the tone of their voice. Tone of their voice, the words that they use, what are they using as often as possible, and be as receptive to listening to their breath. And in all of that, you have no idea how much you can tap into their energy field to figure out where is that trigger point that we can activate to make their healing happen faster. So this happens with sensitivity. This happens with being purely focused and being aware in that energy field. And we all are connected, whether we know it or not, whether we are far away or not. Every breath, every carbon dioxide that we are eliminating, it is going to the plants, and the plants are getting all the water from different parts. Whatever is the water that I'm drinking right now, it came from somewhere else. So the fact that we all are connected to such deep extents, we need to realize that factor. And why we are using this logic is to understand our monkey mind can sometimes limit our ability to listen to the whispers that are inside of us. Now, I'm sure some of you might have heard about the chakra system, Mooladhara chakra, Swadhisthana chakra, Ajna chakra. So this area, we call it third eye chakra. Sometimes we call it the sixth sense. We have 5 sense organs. And in spite of these 5 sense organs, I'm getting something beyond that. Now, sixth sense organ, sixth sense, they call it sixth sense. What makes it active? Sometimes they say, this is my 6 packs because I'm thinking a lot and I'm not able to understand what is happening. Every time you have a faint feeling in your third eye area, always remember there is an intuition or intelligence that is. I'm not talking about headaches. I'm not talking about discomfortable feeling. There is a faint feeling that we get in our third eye chakra. That is why in India, you'll see many people wearing sandalwood paste, keeping the saffron paste. It's just a way to connect with our intuition because it's a very powerful guidance system that no scientist or anyone can give us. So even when we meditate, one of the things that can be focused on is to connect with the energy field between your eyebrows. And the most powerful technique, again, after we get up in the morning, 20 minutes, silence. You can sit on the floor, you can sit on a chair, keeping your eyes closed. You could keep an alarm, which is not going to wake you up with a high heart rate. There's piano music, something that is quite calm, and keep it away. Know that this is on. After 20 minutes or 30 minutes, it will ring. First few days, it could be a challenge, but then keep repeating it till you become comfortable with that. When you keep repeating this, observe the sensations in your body, observe the breath, observe the thoughts that are coming. And every time you become conscious of it, it just goes away. Being conscious of that, it's like now you see that cat with Dominic, it's like the cat watching that rat that is going to come out. Because the cat is there, the rat will never come out. The same way, our unconscious thoughts, it will not come when we become conscious of it. And in that consciousness is when our intuition is the most powerful. It will come when we meet people. Is this someone with trauma? Is this someone with a lot of pain? Is this someone who wants to hurt people? Is this someone who is here to cheat? Is this someone that I can trust? Is this someone with a person with good karma? All these thoughts, we will start tapping into it with, and we will be surprised. How did I know this? I knew this is happening. Many times when I see people who separated, and let's say there was some element of disrespect or distrust, mistrust that happened in that relationship. And when I ask them, why is it bothering you? Why are you yet to come out of it? They are not able to find out why. And then later, then when I go back to their story, they said, the beginning I did doubt about this person. He or she was like this. But then every time I asked this question, sometimes I would get overwhelmed. That person would come back to me with a lot of anger. How dare you think like that? And then time revealed it. And then my greatest regret was, why did I not listen to my intuition? It is not that other person did something that I trusted that person and changed. It's about my deepest thing is I did not listen to my own true feelings. That is where the real regret came. So, and it's not that when you don't listen to your intuition, you should regret yourself. It's just that it's a lesson. Learn to tap into your intuition. One of our greatest needs is we want people to understand us. We want to be understood. Same thing. Being able to tap into your intuition is learning to understand your communication. And this starts with listening to your feelings, listening to your urges, listening to your cravings. Sometimes in India, we have this Pitru Tarpana. Pitru Tarpana means like we are doing some rituals for the ancestors. So one of the reasons why it is done, so that, every person, every land, everything has an energy. If my grandfather or my grandfather's grandfather had issues with certain things, there is a high possibility some of that memory will still be passed on to me. So when we do this tarpana, we are learning to understand, should I continue that same pattern? Maybe it is something that is helping me, maybe it is not. But that ability to disconnect that from my ancient ancestral pattern, it comes with our awareness. And when we become aware, we start realizing actually these cravings that I'm having right now, it's actually because it's nothing to do with me, something from the past that is bothering me. Sometimes we will see people behaving different because these energies would have an influence over us. And that comes with our ability to connect with that. So in South Indian, especially also in North India, they have this culture called Agnihotra. Agnihotra is like a fire ritual where at the time of sunrise and sunset, you burn the cow dung cakes for a few minutes, and then you watch that fire, and then you offer fresh rice seeds with a mantra being chanted. You can check about Agnihotra, how it is done. This is considered to be a very powerful practice to disconnect from our unwanted influences in our body, in our mind, in our DNA. And why fire? Because fire is the element that cannot be polluted among all the elements. You can pollute water, you can pollute all of that. I think we have already discussed this before. But connecting with that fire's energy is very powerful especially at the time of sunrise and sunset, because these are the two times where the Earth's magnetic field is quite powerful. because that's the transit time from light to darkness and darkness to light. And in India, we make a joke, this is the time when the mosquitoes come inside. This is also the time when things go out of control. But the idea is, at this point of time, we can, when we connect to the element of fire, we will be more intuitive, we will be guided in a proper way. And some of the mantras that are chanted, one is called Gayatri Mantra. I'm sure some of you might have heard about this word Gayatri Mantra. It's a powerful mantra that is chanted just to bring clarity. Now, why clarity? If at all you ask for something, ask for clarity. Because if I have clarity, I know what I want, I know what I don't want. Many of the times we keep wasting because we don't have clarity. All the research, all the surveys, all the data-based decision, this is all to get clarity. Is this the right thing that I'm doing? So this is a mantra that is done to connect with that, whatever is the right clarity, let it come to me. So this is my opinion about intuition. I don't say it could be the truth. This is my opinion.
Well, we riveted by your opinion. Thank you so much. I'm gonna open up if you don't mind,
Yes.
and ask, like, please feel free to ask everybody. I'd love us to now sort of go into a little bit of a conversation. So thank you, Shavit. Nice to have you here, and she also just commented how interesting this is. So please feel free. Who wants to start it off and has a question or a comment for Dr. Vignesh on the topic? Is anybody going to start it off for me? I'm just going to have a look around and see. Okay, everybody gets so shy sometimes, so let's see somebody's hand. No. I mean, I'm just going to add to that is you know, all the techniques that you were sharing, from the breath and keeping the mind calm. And I know a lot of us in the house either practice yoga or have done some form of it, have experienced, not everybody meditates, but there are a lot that have tried or do regularly, and connect with nature. And there's definitely a resonance with all of us. I'm sure that we could resonate with, definitely in the state of calm, and with continual practice of finding a practice. I think it's you know, if we could all find a practice that does support us feeling calm, feeling connected to nature, it definitely helps the intuition. I mean, it's the exact antidote of what we need in this really crazy busy time. So you know, and sometimes I think one can tend to think that the simple things just can't be enough. How do you tap into something so big? But it is the simplicity, isn't it? You know, it's actually when we tap into that simplicity and, you know, do, you know, find the tools that just shut down the noise, like you say. So I'd have somebody, yes, Helen, jump in and chat with us on this.
Yeah, it's really a question to Dr. Vignesh around intuition when you're working with patients. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed that you kind of have this capacity, this gift, to be able to get to the absolute core issue, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical, in a patient, prior to even asking them any questions. And then it's as though your questions really just support your intuition. So I'm kind of wondering what part of it is download, is intuitive download, and what part of it is experience and knowledge around observation as a diagnostic tool.
So when it comes to physical illness that you see in their physical body, for sure, a lot is coming with your experience with the diagnostic tools. But when it goes beyond that, it's a request that you make to your own self. Guide me, what is that I can help in this person discover? And whatever answer you get, and when you see this person, you will get some hunches, you'll get some ideas, you'll get some communication that could be quite like a whisper. And then when you get this information, never be like a psychic teller or force that this is how. Sometimes people say that and makes it things really bad. But put it in a way that how do they feel about this idea? And then you will see that how are they responding to that? What is it that they're taking? And then maybe when you ask this, they would say no. But then later they might say, oh, no, actually, that is true what you asked. I've had such a thing. So when we share such an information, always be very polite and as subtle as possible.
Don't assume.
Yes, exactly. And never, and always be ready to feel that what you thought was right. Never be under that, no, what I said is right. Never be under that conviction, no, this has to be like that. Always give it a benefit of doubt about your past experience. Maybe things can always break and change.
So, for example, if you have a sense that somebody's had a lot of trauma in their early childhood or trauma in their ancestral history, that has got nothing to do with physical manifestations that you can, kind of read as symptoms. Is it like, do you hear a voice, or is it visual?
I mean, it's not like a voice kind of a thing. Sometimes I'll tell you where we have to listen to intuition most. First is people come with unexplained diseases of unexplained, unknown causes. They're not able to know why this is happening. So in such a situation, it's not that there is no cause, it's not that there is no explanation to it, but definitely there is a cause, but they were not able to find it, and that's why they are approaching someone. So at that point of time, one thing that I do is I connect with their breath. And when you connect with their breath, you're able to tap into their energy frequency. This is one thing I learned from a folklore healer. That's what, and for me, it takes practice. As we see many patients, and you become very sensitive to that energy field, you will also pick it up. Some people, it comes naturally. Some people, they have to experiment few things and get that confirmation. Yes, this is true. And then they get confident about it. So the one thing I always recommend is getting aware of other person's breath, like how fast are they breathing, how slow are they breathing, how is their breath work. This is a very powerful way to tap into their energy field. And it is not about manipulation, it's about helping, and keep that intention. My intention is to help this person.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks, Helen. I want to add to that because, while you're chatting about it, it makes me think of when I'm teaching a class. It's very true. I mean, it's interesting because you're putting the words into what I find I do, and it's definitely there's so much information that I gather from, and I read and I pick up from just watching, especially live. A lot of the classes I have to do online, but live, one can just notice the breath, and sort of you pick up so much information from the group that it's been quite an incredible tool that I've been able to sort of practice as the year, well, certainly especially during these past 2 years, but that simplicity of watching the breath and picking up the energy of a group teaching has I have noticed it's benefited my teaching, you know. And I do like that comment of, so important to when you're with a client, like you said, to I like the way you say you make a suggestion, you know, or offer a suggestion of, so that there's always that feeling of choice. If I'm understanding what you said, I think that's such an important, because it gives people, it empowers them instead of being sort of dogmatic about something. It gives them that sense of choice. And I just think tapping into and using this learning about our intuition is a key component in healing, in like real healing, for ourselves and some of us as teachers. And so it's a fascinating thing, because it's not something that is overexplored in the regular Western teachings, and yet it's the thing that we need so much. So I want to see if there's anybody else that wants to add to this. Nick, I know you love talking. Do you want to add? Shavit, where are you? Yes, please. Hi.
Yeah, I mean, this resonates so much with me, and it feels quite nice to hear something that I've always kind of speculated about, said out loud. I'm a naturopath, and I'm often, you know, I'm often in my consultations with my patients, I'm like, this is just come up for me to, you know, I've just had like an inkling to ask you about, or, you know, I'm like, maybe we should talk about this. And it's, sorry, that's actually not what I wanted to say, but it's so great. But what I have noticed, especially with the medical system that we live in, people are very disempowered and very disconnected from their own bodily intuition when it comes to health and well-being. And I noticed that when I have people coming into my office and they're like looking to me for all the answers. And the truth is that, you know, we are, you know, everyone's the all-knowing of their own body. And that's what I always try to kind of instill in my patients, is that like, you are the boss of you, you know your body the best. Like, I can help you because I know about the body. But there's this disconnect from our intuition as people who are
the car's still outside, you have to bring it in.
But anyway, it was just really great to have things that I've just kind of speculated and thought about so beautifully presented. So thank you.
Thank you, Shavit. I'm so pleased you joined tonight, and absolutely, I think so many of us can resonate with so much of what Dr. Vignesh speaks about. And you have this ability, Dr. Vignesh, to just put such complicated, often topics into such such an easy, accessible way of being able to understand it. You know, we aren't students of yours, a lot of us that are sitting here, and you help me understand quite complicated sort of topics. So I love that. Thank you. Louise has her hand up. Hi, Louise. Do you want to unmute yourself? Unless she just by default raised her hand and said,
there we go. Okay, I'm sorry. I have a question about the mantra to bring clarity. I don't know if I zoned out at that moment, or if Doctor didn't say anything more about it, but it sounded really interesting.
It's a mantra called Gayatri Mantra. I can type it in the chat box.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
I can I can share that if you put it in the chat. There we go. And then what I'll do is I'll also, Louise, and to everybody, any information that comes through, what I do is I just put it on the WhatsApp on the group, and I'll just send that through. Anybody that wants more information about that, that's where you can get most of it. So, hello,
Thank
Kelly.
you. Thank you.
Yes, pleasure. Who else wants to jump in? I'm just looking around the gallery to see if anybody else here wants to ask any questions. I know that it's getting really late, so I'm really quite conscious of time for Dr. Vignesh. It's been a really long day for him. He has, just to everybody, he's put in the chat, and I'd love you to all go into the chat. You'll see he has a YouTube channel, a very effective, workable, amazing YouTube channel, podcasts that are so incredible. So I'd love you to all go onto that, go and have a listen.
That YouTube link is about the Gayatri Mantra. You can check that.
Okay, great. I see Nick has put up his hand. Nick, welcome back to the kitchen. Pleasure, Mati.
Hi. Dr. Vignesh, hi. Thank you so much. It's been so interesting. I've got a question about, you were talking about the breath. Can you hear me?
Yes, very much.
Oh, okay. So one of the things that I often do when I'm coaching people is that I will synchronize my breath with them. So I will start to because often I want to change their state from one thing to another. So I'll kind of get my breath in line with theirs and then slow it down to take them out of a particular state. What do you do? And in terms of intuition, for me, what I've learned to do is I've learned to just look for the feelings in my body. So I feel what's happening in my body that guides my intuition. And it's something new. I did a reading with Dominique Canty, and she said to me, follow your intuition, and I didn't even know what that was. So it really has been a new process to track that. But what's interesting for me is when you're working with patients, are you observing, or are you kind of using your body almost like a mirror to feel into it? Do you feel into your body? Do you feel into their body? I guess is the question.
No, let's say some patient comes and I feel something strange. So if that person is appearing very restless, and then I could sense it, where is this coming from? If that person is behaving strange, they're not answering to the question, they are dodging the questions. Or when you ask them, they are answering about something else. Did you eat today? No, I was thinking about eating yesterday. So every word, every behavior, every response, they answer, not answer, and keeping quiet, it's a signal where we need to go inside. So it's about, we can't isolate if this is the way to get it. Sometimes you could feel it in your body. Sometimes you will be tempted to ask something that is quite strange, but be open to asking it in a very safe manner, like putting it like an, is there something like this happen? I don't know why I feel like asking, but I just felt like asking this to you. So I don't get into that energy field and see if this is happening in my body. I have not tried that, but I know there are some people who could do that. But this is something we try to read with their body language, tone of voice, words, and also you sense a kind of energy around them. And looking into their eyes is a very powerful thing. The eyes talks a lot.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you for your feedback.
Thanks, Nick. There was one question that came up, Dr. Vignesh, from Heidi. I don't know if Heidi's still in the house. She said, thank you very much for your insightful talk. Can you
Yeah, it is Agni Hotra. I will
Yeah.
just put it in for everyone.
There we go. So
And if you are a body worker, you will feel in different parts of the body. If you are massaging, or if you will feel a different temperature. You might, I mean, temperature can happen also if there is an inflammation, but you would feel a kind of change in that energy field in certain parts of the body.
I think that note might have been helpful for you, Nick. Okay, so Heidi, I don't know if you're still in the house. Did you see the name of the fire breath or the mantra? If she isn't, I'm going to pass it on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, let's see. Oh, pleasure. Okay, Heidi, all good. So giving people the last minute to ask the very last question. Who wants to, is there anybody else that wants to ask, so that I can allow Dr. Vignesh to get some sleep finally? Let me see who's in the house. Everybody looks so content. I know you're also happy sitting in the kitchen, aren't you? Hey, before you go, I also just want to say that this is going to be, I'm going to be on a break. So the next time we are going to be back in my kitchen is going to be the 26th of May. So take advantage while you're sitting here. Otherwise, I just want to say the hugest thank you, Dr. Vignesh. It's always such a pleasure to have you in the kitchen. You're just like my regular guest. And I love having it here. And please God, one day in real time, in real life, you can have come and visit my kitchen. But otherwise, I'm going to be seeing you in September. So if anybody wants to get hold of Dr. Vignesh, he has an amazing website, podcasts, and his Sitaram Beach Resort Ayurvedic Clinic in Kerala is amazing. I will share all that information on the WhatsApp. So thank you so much for joining again. And please God to coming back as always.
Thank you all. The name of the podcast is Ayurvedic Healing and Beyond. You can check it in Spotify. And the website is sitaramretreat.com. You can also get in touch with Helen as she organizes some of the events. And thank you, Elaine, for again inviting me. Happy to be a part of this.
Oh, pleasure. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Thank you, Dr. Vignesh.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, and we'll speak again soon.
Yes.
Lovely. Hi, everybody. Did you all have a good evening? Bye, Dav. You can unmute yourselves with pleasure. So nice to see you all. Bye, Janie. Lekker to see you.
Yes, he also has that web now.
Cheers, everybody.
Good.
Bye, Nick.
Hi.
Bye, Kat. Lekker to
Thank
see you.
you. Thanks.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.